The IPL or the diode machine with a wavelength more than 700 is used for laser hair removal. The detail of hair anatomy and how it grows will be discussed more in trichology course. A brief I'll tell you is like hair is divided. Hair anatomy is hair is divided into three sections, that is hair root, dermal papilla, and the hair shaft. Now the dermal papilla, it is present at the hair follicle and it has a very high active group of cells which is responsible for the production of hair fiber. It is immediately in the vicinity of dermal papilla. In the immediate vicinity of the dermal papilla, there are epidermal cells, that is cortical or matrix cells, that is actively proliferating groups of cells. So, under the influence of dermal papilla, the epidermal cell differentiates to produce keratinized hair fiber and its associated products. Now, around the matrix cells, there are melanocytes. These produce melanin responsible for the black-brown color of the hair. Now, once these melanocytes are damaged, then the color of the hair turns grey. So, this matrix, the melanocytes around the matrix cells are responsible for the color of the hair. Then is the hair shaft, that is the part of the hair that is protruding above the skin surface, and it consists of cortex, hair cuticle, and the center core or the medulla. Then comes the hair root, which is the part of the hair shaft below the surface that is inside the follicle, and the root is surrounded by the inner root sheath and the outer root sheath. Now the hair is constantly growing, so it has a growth cycle. Now there are three phases of hair growth cycle, which is anagen, that is active growth phase of a hair fiber. Then is the proanagen or the resting phase or the catagen phase. Then is the proanagen, that is the growth phase, and the resting phase, which is the catagen phase. Proanagen phase is also called as the telogen phase. So it is anagen, telogen, and catagen phase. So if at any time only 10 to 20% of the hair are in the anagen phase, that is they are in the growth phase, the remaining hair have either entered the telogen phase or the catagen phase. So as earlier discussed, the melanin and the melanocytes present in the dermal papilla are present in the anagen phase only. Now melanin is a chromosome at the hair dermal papilla responsible for the energy of the laser during the laser hair removal. I told you darker pigments attract laser light more. So melanin is the chromosome that is attracting the laser energy during the hair removal treatment. Therefore, laser hair removal is effective only in the active anagen phase of the hair growth cycle. So multiple settings are required for total hair removal. Now suppose there are 100% of hair. So each time only 10 to 15 or 20% of the hair are in the anagen phase. So you need multiple settings for the cycle to complete, or there's a complete reduction of hair, because at one given time only 10 to 20% of the hair are in the growth phase, the rest are not. So only those anagen phase hair are destroyed, and that becomes effective. When it is in telogen and in anagen phase, telogen and catagen phase, there is always one phase going on below, which is anagen phase. So even if you destroy the hair in the catagen and telogen phase, the anagen phase hair is still below it, so that will grow up. So when there is, they say, when there is a pepper point appearance of the skin, when the hair is just about to come out of the skin, is the right time for a patient to go through this treatment. So that phase is the anagen phase, so that is the growth phase. So you usually call patient during that period to give the laser shots. So you actually need around maybe 12 sittings or more for complete hair removal depending upon the density and the texture of the hair.